Now, I would like to urge everyone to please keep standing for the four-way test. And on behalf of everyone present here, I would like to pledge that of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you, everyone. You might now please take your seats. And for continuing the program, I would like to hand over to Rotractor Shivtesh Patil.
Thank you so much, Rotractor Vernon. I feel honored and blessed to have you all for the 5th episode of EPIC. Friends, developing an entrepreneurial mindset is all about altering your perspectives. No matter how long you have been in business, you are starting it anew today. To become successful in life, we should be focused, punctual, and should be professional. But along with this, we need right guidance, because someone said, true guidance is like a small torch in a dark forest. It does not show everything at once, but gives enough light for the next step to be safe. As it is the goal of our mission to give you opportunities to listen to the successful personalities, today also we have energetic and versatile personalities with us to guide us. It's my privilege to welcome our today's guest of honor, IPP Rotarian Makarand Phadke sir, our today's speaker, Mr. Kedar Joshi sir. And last but not least, I would like to welcome all club members and all the students. Now, I would like to introduce today's guest of honor, IPP Rotarian Makarand Phadke sir. Sir has completed his PhD from Carnegie University, USA, and BTech from IIT Bombay, both in chemical engineering. During professional career spanning over 30 years, he worked in USA and in India in a chemical companies. He recently retired from Reliance Industries Limited. He has been a member of several committees and advisory panels. FICC's Science Technology Committee, Swachh Bharat Committee, just a name of few. Sir joined Metro family 10 years ago. He held several board positions, and he was the president of Rotary Club of Pune Metro in Rotary year 2020-21. Sir was also a part of every global grant project of their club has done. He is also fond of reading. Now, I would like to request our guest of honor to address the audience. Over to you, Rotarian Makarand sir.
Thank you, Shivtej, Rotractor Shivtej. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Rotractor Shivtej, for that very, very kind introduction. Also, thanks to President Vaibhav Lakshmi, Rotractor Vaibhav Lakshmi, for this invitation, and of course our youth director, ever youthful youth director, Rotarian Amita. It is really indeed a great honor and privilege to be here talking to you, this club. I've had numerous occasions to interact, and I always admire the enthusiasm and the systematic working that this MCOE club is, we have experienced it, and they have really done great. Today, as was told, is the 5th episode of this event, EPIC. First of all, so I want to congratulate the club and our youth director, Amita, for consistently doing this. This is the 5th month of the Rotary year. And so be able to do this month on month, I think it's a great recognition of the passion and the commitment that the club and our youth team brings to this. Now, EPIC, as it's a nice acronym standing for Enterprise, Passion, Inspiration, and Conviction. So these are very 5 key words that describe any entrepreneur, but also professional. And I'm really glad that this series was started, and this is a way for all Rotarians and other professionals, other entrepreneurs, to share their experiences and being able to share some of what we've learned during our career and during our professional journey. So again, once again, congratulations to the entire Rotaract Club for clubs, I should say, because there's several of them involved, and for continuing with this activity. Now, and today, we have a very eminent speaker, our Mr. Mr. Kedar Joshi. He has also worked in India, worked abroad, and he's of course going to share his experience. And certainly, Kedar, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So I'm not going to take much time, but there are a couple of things I wanted to share with this audience. And this is something that I learned through my own professional journey and through my professional career. I think it is happening increasingly that, when you look at large organizations, the expectation for any individual who is part of that organization is that they are multifaceted, they have had multitude of experiences. Earlier, I think the conventional model was, you got slotted into a job and, that's all you're expected to do. But that's no more. I think in small organizations, it was always the case that you had to have multiple experiences, multiple capabilities. But in larger ones, it was more of sort of pigeonholing. And that had changed. I think as digitization is becoming more prominent, there's more competition. The expectation of the organization from their employees is also going to change. And, I've had several companies that I've worked with in my career, and I've seen the progression over the last 30 odd years. And, if this generation is going to fulfill the expectation of larger organizations and of course smaller, and if you're an entrepreneur, then your own organization, then it is important that you continuously learn, you continuously develop new capabilities, because the world is changing so fast. So what you have learned yesterday may not be relevant and enough today. So unless you keep changing, unless you keep adding to your learning portfolio, the world is going to leave behind you. And it is not only your domain, but it's also your personality, your extramural, extracurricular activities. So I think the challenge for all of us is to continuously be agile, continuously be willing to learn. And you never know what you learn, how it is going to benefit. And I want to share one small example from my own life, my career. When I was in college, you're a typical engineering geek, if you will. Really concerned about your subjects, you just focus on that, right? But somehow along the way, when I gone to US for PhD, I somehow got into the habit of reading financial newspapers. A typical engineer who's studying to be a scientist, I said, but somehow I got interested in that. So I used to read Wall Street Journal, and then that got me interested into reading some, the annual reports of companies. And not that I ever invested any significant amount of money based on that, but just sort of got interested in that. Now, how did it help me, right? At some point in my career, and I started as a PhD scientist, but then moved into marketing and then moved into some other roles. And then at one day, I was told by my employer to take responsibility as a business head, a division head, which is like a CEO position of my organization. Now, mind you, I've never had any formal training in finance. So I've never done MBA in my life. But what came in handy was that interest in matters financials, interest in being able to read a balance sheet, capability to understand profit and loss accounts. This is something that I had kind of picked it up along the way and got interested, but that really came in handy. And a lot of my colleagues who were with me, and they said, Makaran, you never have had any education or experience as an MBA and in matters finance, and as a CEO, you necessarily have to deal with it. how are you going to deal with it? And I said, let's see. And I'm telling you, it really came in handy. So the lesson for me is an activity which seemed innocuous, which seemed intramural, extracurricular, served me well at some point in my career. So my message to you all is keep your eyes, ears open. Certainly you need to focus on your subject, especially when you're in college studying, but you also need to get involved in other activities. You need to keep learning. And since the fact that you are a Rotractor just tells me that you are already doing that, because being in Rotract tells you how to organize, how to present, how to network, and all these are becoming increasingly important skills in life. Be it as an employee, be it as an entrepreneur, whatever professional role that you want to do. So my real first message to you all is do take time to focus on these matters other than academics. It's not that you should not be looking at academics. Of course, you have to do that. That's sort of a necessary condition, but that may not be a sufficient capability to have. So that's one message. The second one I want to talk to you about is opportunities. I think one has to look at, as you get into professional career, as you get into your entrepreneurial journey, opportunities will come knocking at your doorstep. Sometimes they are not very visible, but you got to take advantage of them. And go after them. Again, I'll give you a couple of examples. The first one is when I was in Thermax, we had a very young, bright engineer, one of our sales team members, and we had slotted him to go into higher roles. And an opportunity came up. Somebody in our Delhi office had left the company at a senior level. And we had to replace him. So we thought, why not give this guy a chance to take that role, which would have meant moving on up at least a couple of levels up in the organization. Unfortunately, the guy was from Pune, originally lived in Pune, got educated in Pune. And when I called him in and said, look, this is an opportunity, would you be interested? And to my disbelief, he said, "Nahi sir, Punyatcha Bahir, Aivadil, vagare, right?" And this was an opportunity which would have taken him 2 steps up in an organized hierarchy, and he sort of walked away from it. Now imagine a young guy who had no family. He was not married; he was by himself. Only maybe what was holding him back was maybe there was some pressure from his parents to not to go away. But by declining that opportunity, he maybe lost at least I would say 5 to 7 years in his career. He has done well now. Eventually, he caught up, but he could have had a head start. So please keep in mind what may seem difficult at that point in time. Don't get overwhelmed. Really focus on the opportunities and go and grab them. Really go and grab them. Opportunities don't come your way every day. I know again from my family life. When our both the kids they passed 12th standard, and after 12 they wanted to go abroad for undergraduate education, right? Now, as a parent, we could have said, 18-year-old kid going 8,000 miles away, how will he be able to handle? Fortunately, I think both of us talked about it. And although there's a risk element, but we said, no, if they want to go, let them go. And I think their life has really enriched because of that 4 years of education. It's a different education system, different place to live, being able to handle everything on your own, whether you are ill, whether you are hungry, you have to cook on your own. So it teaches you a whole lot of experiences. So message is, please be willing, ready to explore. Be willing to take risks. Be willing to. Now, when I say take risks, let me clarify. It's you take risks, but then you plan. You just don't jump into with your eyes shut. Do take risks. I think these are all things that will get you ahead in your professional pursuits. Again, be it in an organization or be it as an entrepreneur. Sometimes opportunities come your way and you think, gee whiz, how am I going to handle it? I mean, I don't know that I don't know anything about it, right? But the test I have used in my career, and I moved from roles like I said, I moved from a R&D scientist to becoming a marketing manager to an IT director to being eventually leading a couple of businesses, turning businesses around. So the test I have used is will I enjoy what this opportunity is, and if the answer to that is yes, I have always gone after it. It's sometimes it sounds risky, it sounds daunting, but if you enjoy what you're doing, you will learn, you will understand, you will necessarily get the skills that are required to do that specific role or assignment, and you will be able to move on. So my third message is: do take risks. Don't play it safe, but take risks, calculated risks. And I think there's an important difference between just sort of jumping into it blindly versus thinking about it, planning for it, and then moving forward. Early in my career, not one day, but we said we want to move back to India from US. I had a nice job, making good money, professionally was doing reasonably well. But they said, no, we want to go back and have some different sets of experiences, both from a family standpoint and from a professional standpoint. So this was a big decision. 94, people hardly ever came back. But then we really planned and we executed it. And, I have no regrets. In fact, the kind of experiences as a professional I was able to get back in India. I don't know whether I would have gotten them if I continued in the US. So do take chances, plan for it, do grab opportunities. And that's sort of my message, and you will go places. I can guarantee you. So thank you very much. I want to stop here because we have a very excellent speaker, Kedar, going to speak to us. So I don't want to take too much time, but anytime you guys need to talk to me, I'll be happy to help. So thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your amazing words. It will definitely help us a lot. Now, I would like to introduce you our today's speaker, Mr. Kedar Joshi, sir. Sir is co-founder and member of executive management at Qualicia Software. He drives corporate growth as his core agenda with direct involvement in sales and corporate strategy. Sir is multi-dimensional personality, having experience in business, having experience in management, consulting, finance, advisory business. He set up professional consulting practice in India with focus on techno-financial analysis after giving up on his job with Ernst & Young USA, where he was a consultant in their financial service office. Sir bring customer focus to the forefront as he drives sales for Qualicia in India and Europe. Sir is a chartered accountant and US CPA with over 12 years of professional experience of industry verticals and geographies. We are really blessed to have such an amazing personality with us. Now, here comes the most awaited part of today's event. Now, I request Rotractor Sanjana Bhalekar to take the interview of our honorable speaker. Over to you, Rotractor Sanjana.
Thank you, Rotractor. Good evening, everyone, and good evening, sir. I am Rotractor Sanjana Bhalekar. So, thank you so much, sir, for being here. It gives us immense pleasure and honor to uh, understand your journey and your experiences. Thank you for giving this opportunity to all of us. I can surely say that today it will definitely inspire us and we'll learn throughout the session. Thank you, sir. Sir, shall we start with the interview?
Yeah, sure, you can do that. Before you do that, first of all, I would like to thank Rotary Club of Metro, and it's just wonderful to be back attending a Rotract meeting. I was a Rotractor back in 97, 98. It's been really long, and it's just wonderful to be back.
Thank you. To start with, we would like to know more about how you started off your career and how you decided to move out from that typical 9 to 5 job and work for yourself for an organization that you set up. What were your thoughts when you decided to choose this path?
Excellent, great. So now I started my career pretty much like anybody else would. I studied hard, worked my way up, passed my chartered accountancy exam, got into a job, and everybody somewhere down the line they realize that probably they're made for something more than what the job has to offer to you. I can't tell you when that feeling comes to you. It's just something within yourself that tells you that you just got to look at something bigger and better. What drives you to that point are multiple, I would say, personality traits, and it all begins by knowing yourself very well. Since the core theme of our discussion today is entrepreneurship, I think what all of us need to understand is that entrepreneurship is probably the most difficult thing you'll ever do in your life. The reason why I say that is because you're out there on your own. There's absolutely no support system around you. If you succeed, you take all the credit. If you fail, you'll be lucky if somebody comes and shares that failure with you. That never really happens. What were my thoughts when I left my job and decided to do something on my own? First and foremost, you just like any other, I would say, a business person would do. You always look at creating some plan A or a plan B. In business, it's very important to always have some kind of a fallback option. Business will never follow your plan. You may end up doing a planning exercise once every month, once every week, or sometimes you may change your plans daily. But it's important that you always have some kind of a backup plan. So that's where it all began. First thing, it began with telling myself that from tomorrow onwards, I'm not going to get any salary. There is no paycheck. I'm pretty much on my own. So I need to be extremely honest with myself. I need to have the passion and the drive to do whatever I need to do. I need to believe in myself. Unlike when you do a job, there is always a feeling that even if I just go home early, there is somebody in the office or some of my colleagues might help me in getting my job done. But that never really happens when you're out on your own. So as I said, it all begins by first understanding whom you are, being very brutally honest with yourself that this is exactly what I want to do, and then it's all about cutting the strings, taking the plunge, and just believing in yourself.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we know the word entrepreneurship, but after listening your words and your views on this, it has really given us a clear idea that what really entrepreneurship is. And so, sir, my next question is, what are the aspects do you think that an individual should keep in mind while making move from working for an organization mindset to working for oneself mindset? What are the challenges that come during this process or this transition? So, sir, your views on this?
Sure, sure. See, as I said, it's all about setting priorities. Um, See, entrepreneurship will never occur to you unless you don't have a dream. It all begins with dreaming big. Only after you dream big, you really get that drive to tell yourself that if I need to achieve my dream, I just got to do it by myself. Yeah. And whenever you chase the dream, you also need to be slightly grounded. Dreaming is not, it's not like a daydream. Unless and until you cannot execute that dream, there's absolutely no entrepreneurship. People might just end up calling you, probably a foolish person. So the mindset change has to be, you need to have a reality check at every step that you take. As Makaran sir said before, that you need to take calculated risks. And while you take calculated risk, taking the risk is very easy. Knowing when to back out is very important. I'll give you an example. Say that I enter into a business and I said I'm ready to take a limited risk, but I don't quantify that risk. And I end up making like sequential losses month on month for 6 months. And at the end of 6 months, I said, you know what, enough of my entrepreneurship. Let me just go and now do my job. This is enough. But if I have taken on maybe 10 lakhs or 50 lakhs or 1 crore of debt at such a young age, you are practically doomed. How do you recoup that debt? How do you come back from that? So while you take a risk, you need to define how are you going to mitigate that risk. Risk mitigation could be in terms of amount of money you want to burn. It could be the time that you want to set yourself, or there could be certain other parameters. So it's all about acknowledging the risk. And as I said, having like a plan B. What I also believe is that one needs to have an extremely strong support system. And support system it's slightly comes from all quarters. It begins with building a good team around yourself. It's having good support from your family. That's very important. Having good support from your friends as well. Unless and until you don't build that kind of a support system around you, the entrepreneurial journey is very lonely. Unlike in the office where you can do fun and frolic, entrepreneurial journey, you're always out there on your own. Because whenever there is a decision making time, you have to stand up for yourself and make that decision. And if you make that process too democratic, then unfortunately it might not remain entrepreneurship anymore. You're going back to your job. So these are the few things that I can talk about when it comes, what is the mindset change that one needs to bring about.
Very true, sir. Sir, every day we get new and many opportunities. But while we get new opportunities and there are many opportunities, so how to choose those opportunities wisely? What we need to keep in mind while deciding what kind of opportunities to take up in one's profession?
Sure. So what opportunities to choose? I wish everybody was in that situation. Where to look for an opportunity would be, a better way to put it. There is a book written by the founder of Daewoo. I forgot his name. The name of the book is Every Street Paved with Gold. What that book talks about is that whenever you walk on the road, if you dig deep under, there is a good chance that you will find a gold mine. But since you are walking on the surface, you really don't see what is beneath you. And that is what happens in a true life situation as well. There are so many opportunities around you. It's about how do I sense there is an opportunity. Number two, how do I quantify it? Like for example, during lockdown, many people lost their jobs, and everybody was thinking about, hey, what could I do now to just have a steady stream of cash flows. Certain people were fortunate; they didn't lose their job. But people who were working, in companies where they were probably had a temporary employment, or where factories were closed down for a prolonged period of time, they're all faced with this dilemma, like, what opportunity to choose or where to look for. Honestly, that answer is very difficult. I wish they taught you in a book. But what I would say is that, it could come from multiple areas. Naturally, you would look for an opportunity in an area where you're passionate about. For example, if I am a chartered accountant, if somebody is a software engineer, you typically look for an opportunity within that domain. Sometimes you are guided to an opportunity, right? It could be like a casual conversation that you could have with friends or family, or even with an acquaintance. It might just put a spark in your head, and you may want to drill a little deeper and see if all of that makes sense. Oftentimes opportunities just present themselves. There are so many examples of people who have built like extremely large enterprises, not knowing that an opportunity like that would be presented to them. It's all about having an open mind. It's all about being a little bit more diligent. It's all about doing your due diligence well, understanding what an opportunity actually means. Opportunity means, does it mean you spend your time wisely? Does it mean you really make a lot of money? Does it mean you're trying to make this world a better place? So if you can define what that opportunity is, you would probably know where to look for it.
Yes, sir. We will definitely remember this. Sir, journey always have hurdles, difficulties, and sometimes we feel low throughout that journey. So, as a visionary leader, how do you keep your team in a high spirit and get them deliver to their best?
Yeah, so I would say people skills are necessary in every walk of life. It's not necessary that only a entrepreneur needs to have good people skills. But I think once you become a leader, people skills naturally come to you. When you don't take up a leadership role, you end up not putting yourself in a situation where you are really empathetic for people around you. I'll give you an example. Say you're playing a cricket match. Till the time you don't nominate yourself to becoming the captain, you really don't understand, what all aspects I need to consider to win the game. Probably you don't know that somebody bats really well, somebody bowls really well. So unless and until you don't get to know them better, you will not be able to put them in a position which they might turn out to be match winners for you. Yeah? So it's all about understanding people. It's all about demonstrating leadership and demonstrating it in such a way that you are leading by example. It's very easy and to tell someone, yeah, I can see a stream of water. If you jump hard, you might go across, but you don't want to do it first. You're just waiting for somebody else to do it. That's not what leadership is all about. Leadership is about doing it yourself first, and doing it because you have the ability, you have the capability, you have the confidence that you will be able to do it in such a way that you inspire people around you. The moment you start inspiring people around you, people really don't care whether you look good, you dress well, you talk well. These are all secondary things. So as long you're able to focus on bigger and better things that make you successful and people around you successful, I think that would be a job well done. No, unfortunately, nowadays we live in a world where everybody wants to look good, everybody wants to talk good, everybody wants to behave in such a way that You just want everybody to talk good things about you. But let me tell you one thing honestly and straight off the cuff. If you're looking for that, you're better off not being an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship is all about taking decisions, and decisions are not always the goody ones. Decisions are sometimes very hard decisions, and so as long you make those decisions objectively, without showing any favoritism, you do it for the greater good, which means that the decision is taken because it takes me closer to the objective that I want to achieve, and you do it in such a way that it is respectful for people around you. I think you will just you'll just earn a lot of respect of your friends and colleagues around you, and make you personally and professionally extremely successful.
Yes, so true. So when we say about or talk about any organization, there are different aspects, and one of the most important aspects is finances. So, sir, my next question is: as a professional with a finance background, will you please throw some light on how an organization manages its funds and its revenues?
Wow, that's a loaded question. I wish I could answer that in 2 minutes, but let me tell you, in business, cash is king. Yeah. So as long you are able to keep control over cash. Cash, I don't mean like cash as in like currency note cash. By cash, I mean what comes inside your bank account. Revenues can look extremely good. I'll tell you, like, if you look around for companies like Zomato or Swiggy or Flipkart or Paytm, they recently came out with the IPO. They appear to be as an extremely large company, but if you go look at their balance sheets, they've never posted any profits, leave alone generated cash. They're still burning cash. They are not profitable businesses. The plan is to make those companies profitable, and with the hope that they become profitable, many people are investing into that company. So if you really want to understand, finance from a business perspective, think of a banya. If you go to a local kirana shop, if you go to a local grocer shop, the way he controls his money is something that everybody needs to learn. If you do it in a small shop, you're called a banya. If you do it to a medium-sized company, you're called like a finance manager. If you do it for a large company, you become a finance director. For an even larger company, you become the chief financial officer. But they're essentially doing the same thing. If you really want to keep a control over your business, you need to understand how cash will come in and how cash will go out. If you can manage that aspect well, I think you'll do extremely well in managing your business.
We will remember these tips, sir. Sir, today this generation is really fond of going abroad and having education in abroad. So, sir, since you have got some of your degrees from USA, we would like to know about your experiences, like giving exams outside the India. How was your experience? Were you a full-time student in USA, or did you attend remote classes? We would like to hear your experience in abroad.
Sure, sure. To be very honest, a lot has changed. Probably the last exam that I gave in the US was in the year 2003. That was a paper-based exam. Believe it or not, I had like a pen and paper in hand, and I was like writing that exam. It's been almost 17, 18 years now, and the whole world has gone into a completely different phase. How is it to be like a full-time student in the US? I never studied college in the US, but I have many friends who did that, and I can tell you that it's extremely difficult. It's not easy to become a college student in the US for multiple reasons. Number one, getting in the college itself is very difficult. You can ask Mr. Makran Fadke. He's done doctorate in the US, but getting inside a US college itself is very difficult. The fees are prohibitively expensive. The visa that comes along with that, has certain terms and conditions, and most importantly, you are like completely uprooted from your current, I would say, ecosystem, your comfort zone, and planted into a country where everything is so alien to you. Yeah. Fortunately, I did not have to do all of that because I only gave professional exams in the US. But yes, times are changing now. Not sure if it is entirely necessary to go to the US and learn there. There are so many online opportunities that are available now. It's all about finding them and making, I would say, smart use of them. Rather than dreaming of actually going to the US or, for that matter, even Europe to do that. I think the opportunities now are here, right here in Asia, than in the US or Europe.
Yes, sir. There are different platforms nowadays. We can also learn through our home from the abroad universities too. So yes, that is really great. Sir, other than your exceptional professional abilities, we would like to know how you spend your time to relax and rejuvenate yourself. What are your hobbies? We understand that you are a weight taker and have done many treks in Himalayan ranges and different mountain ranges. So, how was your experience? And you have also known about your expeditions in USA too. So, how was your experience?
Yeah, so I think, as I said before, the journey of the entrepreneur is very lonely, right? And when things are going well, it's all okay. But when things are not going well, it's very important for you to indulge into some hobby which you are equally passionate about. Fortunately for me, I just love outdoors. No matter where I am, even if there's nothing to do, I just step out of the house and walk for a few kilometers. It doesn't matter to me whether it is like sunny or raining or extremely cold. Is it snowing outside? I really don't care. Yes, I'm a very avid outdoor person. I like hiking and trekking in the mountains. I do a good lot of cycling as well. And the reason why I like to do those activities is because it really clears your mind of a multitude of thoughts that keep brushing your mind. There are so many decision points which you need to take, and if you always put yourself into your office environment, it may not be possible for you to look at things a little differently. Other than that, whenever you pursue a hobby or a passion, it could be anything. For me, it is trekking. For somebody, it could be like something as easy as watching movies, or just eating out with friends. The good thing that you do is that you naturally attract people whom you like spending time with, and the moment you start spending time with people whom you like, you start building a social bond, which is equally important to balance what you're doing at work with what you really like to do.
Yes, sir. Spending time with your loved ones is really great and it really rejoices our mood. So, sir, we would like to take some tips from you about effectively managing work life balance because balance is really important, though it may be personal life or a professional life. So, what are your tips and suggestions for that?
Yeah, so see, work-life balance is it's there is no straight answer to that, okay? Because when I talk to the CEO of my company, the co-founder at Polisha Software, there were times when we started the company back in 2012, 2013. he never used to go home for like days. He used to walk into office and he never used to feel hungry. He never used to have lunch. He never used to feel like watching a movie. He never used to feel like, tomorrow's a Sunday, so let me take it easy. And I kept wondering, like, I asked him, like, how is it possible? How can you do this, like, daily, weekly, for months, for years? You've been doing that. He gave me a very easy answer. Kedar, when I come to office, I feel as if I'm as comfortable as I'm in my mother's womb. Yeah. So work-life balance is a very, I would say, a personal characteristic. For somebody, they need a break after every 15 minutes. Somebody probably needs a break only on weekends. So it's all about knowing how much, how much life you want to balance with work. Now, sometimes it becomes the other way around. I've got so many friends who balance their life with some work. I hope you don't land up in that situation. But yes, it is important that it changes. When I started my career, when I was in my 20s, I used to slog a lot. And here is my advice to you as well. You're so young, you're so energetic. Just because it is fashionable to talk and say about work-life balance, don't get caught with that. If you don't put in hard work right now, are you going to put it when you're 40 or 50? That's not going to happen. So if you put in all the hard work now, it will be easier for you as you grow up the corporate ladder or as you grow up your entrepreneurial journey. So work-life balance requirements change between age 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. But I would say, yes, when people start talking too much about work-life balance, I can tell them, they're almost started reaching, their midlife situation, if you will. If you really have the passion, if you're really a go-getter, I don't think you will get caught up in the semantics of work-life balance. But there is no straight answer. Keep working till the time you feel like having fun. Get back to work after you feel that you've had enough fun. That's how I would put it.
Yes, sir. So today, as we come to the end of this conversation, what will be your advice or takeaway message to the younger generation who aspire to become an entrepreneur or do something in professional capacities?
Yeah, as I said before, be sincere to yourself. Entrepreneurship is probably the most difficult thing you will ever do in life. And if you take one wrong step, the feeling of failure, the feeling of getting or seeing yourself defeated is not a good feeling at all. And the only way you will be able to survive this journey is if you're very honest and sincere with yourself. We live in a system, or we are brought up in a system where we, casually, I would say, speak lies, if that is the word. We just try to pretend. We don't say things as they are, and knowingly or unknowingly, that becomes a habit. So if you really want to become a good and a successful entrepreneur, be honest and sincere with yourself. Second is work hard and smart. Do it both ways. In your job, probably you could work smart and do away with the hard work. The entrepreneurial journey is full of hard work. No matter how smart you work, you will have to put in, 18, 20-hour work days for months or years, depending on the situation your business is. So be prepared to put in a lot of hard work. Third, build a network. Unless until you don't build a network, you will not be able to succeed in anything or everything that you do. Though companies become large eventually, what is important is what you do in the first few years. And in the first few years, who can really help you are only people who are within your network. I remember when we started the company, obviously, we were in a difficult business of, selling a software product. So I remember how I got my first few customers. I just looked at my LinkedIn. I just, rewound my professional life for last 5 years and jotted down names of people whom I think I could go and talk to them about my product and probably close a sale. So the first baby steps of success in your business will always come from your network. So please don't ignore the power of networking. And what you're doing in Rotaract right now is exactly that. It's funny I say that, but I left Rotaract 25 years back, but I still have good friends there. We still stay in touch, not only personally. There are few friends with whom I also do business with. So make sure that you nurture your network. It is going to be extremely important for you. And last but not the least, is if you're not enjoying it, please stop right there. No, entrepreneurship is not a journey where you will be able to drag on indefinitely. If you think that you are not enjoying, you just need to stop. That's what people talk about. Fail early and fail fast. If you don't think, if you feel that things are not working out, just move on. The more you drag, the more you will dig yourself into a hole, and the more you dig yourself into a hole, it will be very difficult for you to come back. Yeah. Um, there are other things as well. I can go on and on. It's all about believing yourself, doing the right thing. One other important, I would say, trait or a character that one needs to show is you need to be extremely courageous. See, courage is a virtue that cannot be delegated. If you are courageous, you've got to do it yourself, right? Think of it this way: you're walking through a dense forest, everybody is scared, and you're expecting the other person to go first. No, that is not courage. The entrepreneurship journey, you will have to demonstrate a lot of courage. And that courage is not about, just fighting like, I would say animals and demons. It's about uh, navigating through difficult situations. It's about facing uncomfortable conversations. And you need to have a lot of mental preparation to do that. And that can you will not be able to think objectively, or you will not be able to make those right decisions unless and until you have the courage to stand by what you believe. So just to summarize, be sincere to yourself, work hard and smart at the same time, build and cherish your network. And if you're not enjoying it anymore, please stop and move on to something new.
Great, sir. Thank you so much. It was surely a very inspiring conversation with you. Like there were many takeaways. We started with like about entrepreneurship, but after listening your whole journey, your whole conversation, thank you so much for being here. Now, I request everyone to turn on their cameras for a group photo. Uh, Thank you so much, everyone. There's a feedback form that is shared in the chat. So I request all the audience and everyone present to fill up the form. Now I request Retractor Swati to continue with the vote of thanks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Retractor. Sanjana. Myself, Protractor Swati Sunwar. On behalf of EPIC team, it gives me immense pleasure to deliver a vote of thanks on this event. My very special thanks to the guest speaker, Mr. Kedar Joshi sir, the Director of Client Management, for sharing wonderful thoughts, entrepreneurial knowledge, which will help us a lot. Thank you so much, sir. My thanks to the guest of honor, immediate past president, Rotarian Makaran Phadke sir, for sharing inspirational thoughts and motivational words with us. Thank you so much, sir. My thanks to the Amita Naina ma'am for helping us and supporting us for this event. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would like to thank our collaborating clubs, RC Pune City Fortune, RC Thane Downtown, RC Jamshoro Optimists, RC MCU Metro Computers, RC of IMCC. Last but not least, my thanks to all the participants, Rotaractors and club members being here. Thank you so much. For further details, I request our club president, Rotaractor Vaibhav Lakshmi Bobade. Over to you, Vaibhav Lakshmi.
Thank you, Rotractor Swati. Thank you so much, sir, for your motivating words. And I hope that each and everyone here must have learned something new. I would like to thank all the collaborating clubs and our audience for being patient throughout the session. And here we officially come to the end of this episode. Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much. You all can leave now.
So thank you guys. I'm signing off. So Amita.
Thank you so much, Makaran, for coming